Our gospel reading from this morning made headlines back in June. In a wake of protests and uprisings and unrest, police and the National Guard stormed a peaceful protest so that President Donald Trump could take photos holding a Bible in front of a church. After that, Governor Cuomo read from this 5th chapter of Matthew and said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." When Governor Cuomo read this text, he was not commanding President Donald Trump to be a peacemaker, although that would be quite nice, wouldn't it? He read it to serve as a reminder. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Cuomo was reminding those already doing the work, those that were sitting peacefully until tear gas was thrown at them. They will be called children of God. The line Cuomo read and this passage from this morning are commonly known as the Beatitudes. It is the very beginning of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus starts his whole entire sermon this way for the next 2 entire chapters in Matthew. And he starts them with the words, "Blessed are." And he repeats those 2 words over and over. Blessed are. But what does blessed really mean? We hear that word a lot in church, and we know of blessings, but this phrase Jesus uses differs from a car and house blessings that Pastor Bob and I do. In those cases, when we perform as pastors a blessing, it's often done for peace of mind, for comfort, for safety. But when Jesus says, "Blessed are the peacemakers," he is giving us a different type of blessing. A better translation of this word would be satisfied, or happy, or content. Satisfied are those in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Satisfied are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Satisfied are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Satisfied are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Does using the word satisfied change the meaning just a little bit? When Jesus says those words, the blessing is not something to achieve, but something that is already done. Jesus is not saying to be more meek, to be more peaceful. Jesus is making an announcement. We hear the announcement and want to accept the blessing, but we are unsatisfied. Those who mourn often go uncomforted. Those who strive for justice take that longing to the grave. When Jesus spoke these words, he was not saying try hard to live like this because there's a reward at the end. He did not say be poor in spirit and then you will get into heaven. He did not say you will see God once you are pure in heart. He did not say to be a peacemaker, you must be called a child of God. Jesus spoke these words to those that were already under these categories. Those that are poor in spirit, meaning those that doubt, those that are down on their luck, that doubt themselves. Those that mourn, meaning the people who have lost a parent, a brother, a sister, a child, a dream job. Those who have been deprived from joy. Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, these aren't the people holding guns at courthouses, demanding to not wear masks. No, these are the victims of injustice. The people who ask for their children's names to be said after they are killed by police. The people that have been shut down and ignored. When Jesus says those who are meek, those are the people who keep their eyes cast down, those who get stepped on, those who don't count and don't get counted. The people who have been told to be docile and that their needs do not matter. The people who are the peacemakers are not the ones that moderate or avoid conflict. They're the people who put their reputations and lives on the line for injustice. The people that put themselves directly in harm's way, standing between nations, warring groups, or even torn families. They intervene. And we all fall under these categories at one point or another. We all are not satisfied, whether that is with ourselves, with our country, or with our families. In a time when the law was laid out by the religious authorities, these blessings were a radical representation of God's promises. These 8 statements are proclaiming the good news. It is not advice to be followed in order to get to a certain point, in order to get into heaven, in order to receive God's love and grace. Jesus is proclaiming that those that are poor in spirit, right now, this very second, that the kingdom of heaven will be theirs, that they will be satisfied. On All Saints Sunday today, we remember those that have gone before us. We, the ones that are left here, are those who mourn. In a year filled with grief, many of us are or have been in places where we do not expect to find Jesus. Those that have traveled through grief know it all too well. You know of losing a job and not knowing when you will receive your next paycheck. You know of not being able to visit a loved one in a hospital. You know of only having a graveside service and knowing that this is not how you envisioned your loved one's funeral. And you know of the longing and the heartache for how things used to be. These are the places where we might have felt alone, angry, unsatisfied, and even abandoned by God. Yet Jesus meets us in those places, already here on this earth. Jesus is presenting a new world to us. These are the promises given to us through Jesus Christ. The blessings laid out to us in the Beatitudes are not wishful thinking, but are declarations of who Jesus has come to help. They are announcements of where the Lord will be and of the times he will be with us when we need him the most, the times when we are unsatisfied. Jesus is saying, this is where you can find me. From this point forward, this is where I'll be bringing a blessing, where no one expects to find it. Jesus meets us and carries the promise of the kingdom, of the resurrection, and of the everlasting life. The Beatitudes connect this life and the next. and with it our hope that one day the two will be joined and we can be reunited again with those we love. God's promised future has already come to us in the form of Jesus Christ, and God's love and grace have been revealed to us through him and the many other saints that have come before. We are connected beyond time and place, beyond life and death. It is our duty to live out God's promised kingdom on earth as it is in heaven, equipped with the love and strength of those who have gone before. We can be fully satisfied and accept Jesus' blessing, knowing that God will be with us through the challenges, the trials, and the tribulations. And we know this because Jesus says, "Blessed are you." Satisfied are you here and now. Amen.